What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Ogre Boy, and I'm going to be doing my ranking for my top 10 favorite movies of 2004. This is part of my top 10 Tuesdays, and I'm currently doing a series where I rank my 10 favorite movies of each year since I was born. And this week is for the movies of 2004, which is so hard to believe that that year was 20 years ago this year. But that was a good year for movies. There's a lot of movies from that year that I didn't get to put on the list and everything. So this time I'm going to go ahead and give a few honorable mentions. The SpongeBob SquarePants movie, The Polar Express, Sideways, Saw, and The Grudge. Those are the main ones that I can remember off the top of my head. If there's anything else I forget, I'll mention them at the end of it. But those are my main honorable mentions. So coming in at number 10 is Kill Bill Volume 2. I really love this movie. I think it's a really good follow-up to Volume 1. It goes with Volume 1 really, really well and everything. It's not as action-packed as the first one, but it still has a really good story. I love the way she kills Bill and everything, the way you don't really expect it to be and everything. When she finally gets her revenge, is really cool and everything. But the movie is just really, really good. It's got some good emotional moments, a great performance once again by Uma Thurman, and everybody else that was in here is really good too, and it's just a really good movie. So Kill Bill Volume 2 is number 10, and number 9 is The Terminal. This is a movie that's directed by Spielberg and stars Tom Hanks as a man who is locked inside an airport after he can't return to his home country, so he's stuck living in the airport, and it shows like the friends he makes and how he makes a life in the airport. It's a really, really good movie and everything. It's a really underrated movie too. It's one of Spielberg's most underrated films and everything. I've always really enjoyed this one quite a bit. Tom Hanks is just really, really lovable in this movie. You can't help but love his character and everything, and all of the side characters are all really good in here. Some of them are likable, most of them are anyway, and it's just a really good movie. So The Terminal is number 9, and number 8 is The Passion of the Christ. I absolutely love this movie. It is a really, really good depiction of the last 12 hours of Jesus' life and everything, and Mel Gibson did a really great job directing this movie. The visuals hold up really, really well. In fact, the makeup artists who did this have gone on to work on Terrifier 3, and you can totally see their work from this in Terrifier 3 and everything. But it's crazy that they went from Passion of the Christ to Terrifier, although I'm sure they've done movies in between because they're 20 years apart, but still. This movie is really, really a good movie, but it is so hard to watch because it is so brutally violent and everything. And I'm one that usually likes violence and stuff, but when it comes to Jesus and stuff, it's hard to watch and everything as a Christian and everything. But it is a well-made movie, and it's done really well and everything. I remember when it first came out, I was so scared about watching it because I'd heard all the stories about people getting sick and some even dying in the movie theaters and stuff. But I saw it when it first came out on DVD, and I've always really liked it. It's not one that I rewatch very often. I think I've seen it a total of maybe 3 times. But anyway, yeah, so The Passion of the Christ is number 8, and number 7 is Shrek 2. Now this movie's actually gone up on my ranking for this year of movies because it used to be like number 10 and everything, but over the years I've kind of rose it up a little bit. I love Shrek 2. I love all the Shrek movies really and everything, but the first one and the fourth one are my favorite movies, but the second one is a close third favorite and everything. I'm not quite on the same train as everybody else on Shrek 2 who think it's the absolute best of the franchise. I can get why you do like it the most and everything if you do, because it is a really good movie. It's got a lot of jokes in it. I think this might be the funniest of the Shrek movies, maybe. It has tons of jokes, tons of heart and humor, and it's just a really, really good movie and everything. So I really enjoy Shrek 2. It's a really good sequel and everything. Not quite as good as the first one, but it's still a really good sequel and everything. So it's number 7. And number 6 is a love song for Bobby Long. And no, it is not because of the title being Bobby Long being in the title. My name is Robbie, not Bobby. But this movie is really, really great. It's a really good story about a man who's reconnecting with his estranged daughter after many, many years, and their relationship. And it's just a really, really good movie. They don't make movies like this very much anymore, but it's really good. John Travolta gives a great performance in here. In fact, I'd say it's one of his best performances in here. Scarlett Johansson as well. She's amazing in here. And the two of them work really, really well off of each other. And it's just a really, really good movie. I'm not going to say too much else about it because I'm going to be reviewing it at some point before too long. But I do really enjoy this one. So Love Song for Bobby Long is number 6. And number 5 is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. This is a really, really great movie. Really good drama starring Jim Carrey about a man who's wanting to erase his girlfriend's memory from his mind. And it gets crazy as it goes on. And it's just a really, really good movie and everything. Jim Carrey is just absolutely amazing in this movie. Gives one of, if not his best performance in an acting out of his acting career. And I also really love Kate Winslet too. I think she's really great, and the two of them have really good chemistry together and everything. And I forgot to mention in my honorable mentions Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events. It barely didn't make the list. Same with Meet the Fockers. I forgot to mention those two and everything, so I thought I'd mention them now before I forget. But Eternal Sunshine is a really good movie and everything. It's got a great cast. I love the story and the premise and everything. And it's just one of those movies that makes you think, like, if you could erase somebody from your mind, would you do it, and who would it be? I know I sure would love to erase my uncle out of my mind. But anyway, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is number 5. And number 4 is 51st Dates. I absolutely love this movie. This is a really, really good Adam Sandler comedy and everything. It's really good. It has a good story and a really good cast, aside from Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore. Blake Clark, Sean Austin, Dan Aykroyd, they're all really great in this movie too. And they all, between everybody in this movie, they all just bring together a really wonderful cast and really good story and everything about this man who falls in love with a woman who forgets everything that happens every single day, and he has to reintroduce himself in everything every single day. And it's a really, really good movie, good story. It's kind of a crazy story, but it is a good one and everything. It's a unique premise, and it's a fun time without being overly insensitive or anything like that. It does a really good job at pulling at the heartstrings, and it has its serious moments when it needs to be and everything. And it's one of Adam Sandler's more mature comedies and everything. So 51st Dates is number 4. And speaking of 51st Dates, I also forgot to mention Spanglish. That's another Adam Sandler movie that came out in 2004 that I really love. So an honorable mention to that one as well and everything. And coming in at number 3 is The Incredibles. I absolutely love this movie. This is a really, really fun animated superhero movie from start to finish. It's one of the best superhero movies of all time, and I'd go as far to say that this is the best Fantastic Four movie, joke only. But it's still a really, really great movie. The animation is good and holds up really, really well. The story holds up really well and everything. And I just love the whole family dynamic between our 4 main characters and stuff. And it's just a really, really fun time. It's a really great movie. I can't wait for Incredibles 3. But this one is really, really good. So it's at number 3. And number 2 is Spider-Man 2. Now this is the movie that most people are probably expecting would have been number 1, and it almost was. I almost moved it to number 1, but there's one movie that's been number 1 since 2004 and everything, and I don't think it's going to change ever. It's been my favorite movie of that year for 20 years and everything, but I'll get to that one in a minute. This one, Spider-Man 2, is such an amazing movie. It's my favorite superhero movie of all time. It's the best superhero movie that you can ask for. Like his heroism and stuff is put to the test and everything. He's debating whether he wants to even be Spider-Man, and at the end of it, he decides that sometimes you have to give up what is important to you to sacrifice for others, and it's such a good message and everything, without really being one of those messages that tells you that you should do that. It gives you the message that you should always try to help others no matter what, and it's just a good story, and it has a great performances. One of the best villains of all time with Doc Ock. It's just a really good movie and everything. So Spider-Man 2 is number 2 barely, and coming in at number 1 is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Now, this movie has always been my number 1 favorite movie of this year. Ever since it first came out, I saw it opening night, and I have loved this movie ever since then. But I will say that this is barely number 1 nowadays because of how much my love for Spider-Man 2 is. Like, that movie has always been a movie that I've loved almost as much as this one. And if I would have seen Spider-Man 2 in the theater when it first came out, I probably would have said it was my favorite movie of the year that year. But events going as they were, I saw this movie, I was so obsessed with it that if I did go see any movie on repeat that year, it was Prisoner of Azkaban. I saw it like 3 times in the theaters and everything, which at that time was a lot for me. But I really love this movie. It is such a great story. I love the whole time turner stuff. That Sirius Black is introduced in here. He's my favorite Harry Potter, one of my favorite Harry Potter characters. Out of the adults anyway, he's my favorite. And everything, and it's just a really good story, and the visuals, like all the other Harry Potter movies except for Sorcerer's Stone, hold up really well. The sets and stuff look awesome, and it's just really great time, everything. So Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban is easily my number 1 favorite movie of 2004, and I say easily when it's not really easily, because Spider-Man 2 barely made it to number 2, so they were almost a tie. I almost considered making them a tie and everything, but I decided not to. But yeah, so anyway, let me know in the comments what your favorite movie of 2004 is, if you want to tell me your top 10, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And one more honorable mention, $1 Million Baby, I almost forgot that one too. But anyway, let me know in the comments what your favorites are from that year, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.